Ron Suno is here to stay, and he's ready to prove it. Not only is this talented artist a comedian, but he's basically the Big Daddy of Bronx-drill, being one of the early pioneers for that art form when he was just a teenager. Since then, Ron has been entertaining the masses with his online content through comedy sketches that give everybody a taste of just how loud and hilarious this dude really is. After creating the Weave Challenge at only 17 years old, Ron cemented his place in the entertainment industry and would use that exposure to springboard his hip-hop career with viral tracks like Pinocchio. So did this dude really create the uber popular Bronx drill format? Well, let's investigate to find out on our newest episode of Before They Were Famous. Ron Suno was born Karan Forius in Co-op City, a housing development in the northeast section of the Bronx, New York City, on August 3, 2000. He was the youngest of 3 siblings, and his sister China was already 14 when she suddenly found herself with a brand new baby brother. From that point on, she says that she practically raised Ron herself since the age gap between them was so big. Throughout his childhood, Ron grew up with a great sense of humor. Being funny was simply who he was, but as much as he enjoyed making people laugh, Ron also loved creating music. His father had been a rapper early on, which got the ball rolling as far as Ron's own love for music goes, but it would be the entertaining personalities of acts like Trey Songz, 50 Cent, and the early viral sensation Soulja Boy who really inspired Ron the most.
I fuck with Soulja Boy because he reminded me of me. Like, I really create shit like that. Really like set trends. That's why I respect him. Like, if you see the interviews that I did before, that's something that I used to look up to, Soulja Boy. But for the most part though, like, I feel like a lot of people don't respect him because how you say it, like, they don't take it serious because they don't understand him. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I feel like. Because I'm funny, they don't understand. I really deal with this. Do this, like, you know what I'm saying?
Ron's desire to continually be creating and coming up with something new also stemmed from his complete inability to sit still. He told XXL, "When I was in school, every time I was in class, my brain would just never let me do work. I couldn't do work because I was too busy writing songs in class and I was writing too much ideas." Ron simply couldn't turn off his God-given abilities, and many times after being called into the principal's room at Harry S. Truman High School in the Bronx, he'd wind up working his way out of trouble by rapping for his teachers and having them all going crazy in response. Look, working up a crowd is one thing, but being able to manipulate your own teachers out of getting in trouble, I don't know, that's something completely different.
My name is Tyrese, but on the block, niggas call me Tyrone and all that word, B, that ass.
That's nice. Well, can you please tell me about yourself, Tyrese?
I like Tim, I'm from the Bronx, and I sell fruit snacks here and there, but that's not something I want to do in a lifetime.
I totally understand.
When he wasn't standing out at school for mostly bad reasons, he was splitting his time on the streets, running around with his classmate and good friend, Siri De Niro, as part of a group they'd like to call OBHD. Together, they'd roll around with the baddies, participate in basketball events, and eventually hit up the studio with one another. But before music would become a massive part of Ron's life, he dropped out of high school first.
18, dropped out at 18, I went to Truman, I went to Lehman, feel me? Shout out to those schools, you feel me? Gangsta.
Once school was no longer an issue, he found himself inside a studio more regularly, and Ron knew that he had found the place he was meant to be. He started calling himself Ron as an abbreviation of his first name, and as far as Suno goes, well, he says the meaning behind that name will make itself clear in due time. Ready to go with the fresh moniker, at the age of 14, Ron recorded his very first track, a drill song called Murder.
Now the Bronx starting to pick up a little steam. Y'all got K-Flock, B-Love. Like, how you feel about y'all starting to pick up in the Bronx now? Like, how's that make you feel since you was the first?
I mean, Bronx doing their thing, you feel me? I feel like with me, I just open the doors for a lot of people to do their thing, you heard? Because at the end of the day, it become like a sauce, you feel me? It's like a recipe. When you cooking, you gotta always have a recipe, you feel me? You can never know how to make a meal without getting a recipe. It gotta come from a source. Like, even if you got a plant, you gotta have the seed.
Now, as far as Ron is concerned, that breadcrumb is more than enough proof that he's the originator of the New York City drill movement, which seems to be quite the controversial topic these days. But at such a young age, Ron was insecure about his craft and convinced that his music wasn't anywhere near the level it should be. As he grew older, he'd spend more and more time in the studio, which helped refine his talent and turn him into a musical dynamo. But before he'd establish himself as a true force in the music industry, he'd make his name as a comedian. By 2017, Ron had still never really held a real job, but he had managed to grow his social media audience by producing a number of comedy skits alongside fellow viral comedy creator Kai Cenat.
Never have I ever smoked weed.
I get high, yeah. Bob Marley. I Bob Marley. Oh, yeah, you feel me?
Soon after, Ron came up with an ingenious idea, the Weave Challenge, a viral craze that he hosted on his Instagram profile and utilized to gain more than 500,000 followers in a few short months. That content got his platform buzzing, and that's when Ron decided to drop a bomb on his suddenly growing fan base by releasing a few songs that he knew were good to go: Party on Jump, Ball, and his breakthrough track, Pinocchio, which dropped in October 2019. Pinocchio in particular took the Bronx by storm and did the exact same thing over on TikTok as well, with hundreds of thousands of original videos using it as a part of the Pinocchio challenge.
Hey, that's pretty dope. That's not my favorite Suno song, I ain't gonna lie to you. I guess partly it's because the first time I'm hearing it. Maybe if I hear it another time, I'll with it more. But in my opinion, it's like a 6, 7 out of 10. I ain't gonna lie to you. He can do better. Because I've heard better from him. So, 7 out of 10 in my opinion.
Recognizing that his big moment had finally arrived, Ron wasted no time creating a follow-up single, Spider-Man, in February of 2020, which guest starred none other than Fabio Foreign. By the summer of 2020, Ron was not only releasing a brand new remix of Pinocchio alongside Blueface, but he was also dropping his debut studio album, Swag Like Mike, which was dedicated to a series of world-famous Michaels. You know, I'm talking Michael Jordan, Michael Jackson, and Mike Tyson. But I just can't help to think that there is one Michael in particular missing from that list. Sorry, Mr. McCredden, although I do appreciate the job. Thank you. Appreciate it. With a handful of massive songs and a successful new album, Ron partnered with United Masters to drop his sophomore album, Jokes Up, in 2021. And while he might be a little distracted right now by a feud with K Flock in a recent viral video from Rolling Loud, it's as crazy as it most definitely looks. Ron has come too far and worked too hard not to accomplish his goals, especially now that he has an infant daughter in his life. Some of those intended targets include winning a BET award as well as a Grammy, while also one day landing his own TV show. But now, most importantly, he told Flaunt, "I want my work to change how people are living. I want to make the world a better place. If you follow your happiness, you're always going to be happy regardless of what other people think." With the creation of his own label, SBL, or Stack Beyond Lifestyle, which is also home to Bronx artists like Zay Muna, Siri De Niro, and Smalls SBL, Ron is moving one step closer to achieving exactly that. As for where Ron goes next from here, well, that's a story for another time and another place. After all, this is before they were famous. My name is Clyde Smith, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.